So I said to start my show today, everybody loves loyalty, but look at you. You've bounced around. You've gone to ESPN. You've gone to CBS. Now you've gone to Fox because essentially you've pursued opportunity and happy.
Sure.
So when Westbrook says, I'm staying here, we're like, here, loyalty. He looks miserable. You know who doesn't look miserable?
Kevin Durant.
And LeBron James. So where does it fall? Like I've always said, I've been mobile in my life. I'm never going to diss a player like Paul George for going, I'd love to play with Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan.
I watched the press conference after the game, after watching the last 5 minutes of the Thunder game. And to me, if there wasn't light bulbs going off for everybody else in their head, light bulb, like, that's why Kevin Durant left.
Exactly.
And it's not just because of how Russell is and how terse he can be with the local media. It's just the idea of Andre Robertson has to play for the Thunder to win, and they can't win a championship because Andre Robertson has to play in order for the Thunder to win. Right? And if you look back at last year in the NBA Finals, there were times Andre Robertson's guy was standing at the elbow, and Kevin Durant's getting the ball. He's like, dude, I can't play 1-on-2. I can't be me if it's 1-on-2. And when I watched, it was a lot like when I saw your first show here. It's a lot like the feeling I had when I was on Speak for Yourself, that anybody with a brain can go, oh, that's why Colin left ESPN. Oh, that's why Gottlieb's there. It's like, you get it. And between the fact that you have to defend your teammates, and yet you know that they're right. I mean, the numbers are obscene. He was the Thunder were plus 14 with Russ in the game, minus 17 without him in the game.
Yeah, of course.
So then a simple question about, hey, why are you guys struggling when Russell Westbrook isn't in the game? And then Russell has to kind of step in and say, well, you're united. To me, that was a telling tale of why Kevin Durant left, between the media, how you have to handle teammates, the limitations of the roster, dealing with Russell. All of these things came to a head, and they were explained for anyone who has any sense of what it's like to work with a company to which you can't ultimately accomplish all of your goals. That's why KD left.
You know, it's funny about MVP. Rondo this year, and I don't have the numbers
You won't let it go.
But Rondo's averaging 7.6 assists, 5 rebound shot, 41%. But here's what's funny about valuable.
Okay.
He leaves, series has changed.
Oh, yeah.
So
that series is over, by the way. And I said it on Speak for Yourself Friday.
Yeah.
I said the series is over, and they were down 0-2 at the time.
The reality is, and this doesn't, I'm not anti-Westbrook, but it is kind of a qualifier. Can we stop making MVP just a stat-chasing award? Rondo's value, I could argue. The Clippers without Blake yesterday could still play. The Bulls are not even, they're literally, there's a 20-point swing when Rondo, who shoots 41%, is not on the floor. Value can be attained through a variety of measures, and Rondo's toughness and IQ are really valuable.
There's no question. And that's really what LeBron said last year. Remember when he got roasted by some last year in the middle of the playoffs when he said, hey, look, Steph Curry's had an incredible year. His numbers are obscene. He's had the best season. Now, if you want to talk true value, that's a different discussion. That's what you're doing. And you're not wrong there. Like Rondo, you also, let's remember, he plays the most important position on both offensively and defensively. He's also a shot creator for guys. They don't have a lot of shot creators on that team. So all those things factor in. Oh, yeah, and the best player on the other team, Isaiah Thomas, is guarded by Rondo. He's an elite defender. You replace him with Grant, with Michael Carter-Williams, or with, was it Canaan or whatever, the kid from Murray State? There's a substantial, you're replacing them with 6 men or second-team guys. So there's a huge drop-off in terms of like wins above replacement. But let's also remember Rondo has been a disaster during the regular season, much like LeBron has taken games off in the regular season. Your thing with LeBron and the MVP, you're kind of like election guy, where you got to let it go. He's not winning the MVP, and Donald Trump is our president. There's nothing you can do now to keep talking your way around LeBron being the MVP.
You're saying I'm the Hillary voter.
You're like, no, this was rigged, and then Russia. Like, dude, let it go. 3.5 years, make a change. It's the same thing. If LeBron wants to win the MVP next year, go out and win the MVP. Don't have your team finish 11-15 down the stretch. That's it. Simple.
Okay, so the Steve Kerr story. We all know that football's violent, and we all know that the Major League Baseball schedule is just daunting. But the difference is an NBA player doesn't get to stay in town for 4 days like a baseball player. It is a series of burning 7,000 calories, getting on a plane, showing up at 3 a.m, doing a shoot-around. Is that it's a burnout league. And Steve Kerr, even as a coach, on a plane, Mike Dunleavy once told me, you better be able to nap as a coach in this league. You will not get 4 hours of sleep in the playoffs. Kerr's falling apart. Gobert, Harden's hurt. Blake Griffin. Doesn't that validate to a large degree what these stars are doing when you look at the valuable pieces, even a coach who's being worn down physically, that what LeBron is saying is, hey, this league is rough. It doesn't matter that we go to the Ritz-Carlton. We're beat up by May.
Well, the thing that people have to remember, the reason they'll never shorten the schedule, okay? Next year, they're going to add 10 more days to the season to try and alleviate some of the back-to-backs.
That's next year.
Right, that's next year. And which is smart. And the NBA regular season used to be longer, and they've contracted, they've lengthened, they've changed it, and now it looks like they're going to lengthen again. But the reason they'll never do away with the 82 games, and anybody who tells you otherwise is just completely obtuse to the facts. It's not just the television contracts, which are ironclad, or the players' contracts, which are ironclad. It's also the lease agreements with the arena. Like, that's the lifeblood of so many of these downtowns. The restaurants, the vendors, and the arenas themselves. They have to have those 41 home dates, plus playoffs, plus preseason. But the thing about Kerr is, to me, the interesting part is Mike Brown. Right now, Mike Brown might have the opportunity to compete against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Wow.
And you remember, Mike Brown, he got dusted right before LeBron left for Miami. So, like, LeBron didn't get Mike Brown fired, but if he didn't want Mike Brown fired, he wouldn't have been fired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he was a free agent. That's when he went to Miami, but they fired him after a, 61-win season because they were trying to appease LeBron James.
Right.
Then he goes to L.A., and Kobe Bryant got him fired. Kobe Bryant walked into the office and says, Mike Brown's got to go because Eddie Jordan's offense doesn't fit. And really, it was Dwight Howard and Steve Nash was too old, and those things didn't go together. And maybe Mike Brown was too nice of a guy.
He's the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
He's an incredible human being.
He's a prince.
And I thought it was amazing what he did after the game. Going back to, what was that, Saturday, when he said, like, I thought they were going to sub out coaches at the half because we weren't guarding anybody and go get the defensive coordinator. So it'll be interesting to see how well they play, how tough they are, how receptive they are to Mike Brown. And for Mike Brown, a personal kind of quest to overcome LeBron potentially in the NBA Finals. But you're right about the league and about coaching. Coaching is exhausting.
Oh, God, these guys I have two buddies that are scouts, and they're like, we can take road trips off. They're like, our guys are shot. They're shot by May.
Now, Brad Stevens told me he thinks it's a way better lifestyle than college basketball lifestyle.
Yeah, that's because he's not advancing in the playoffs.
It's a fair point. He says when we're off, we're off. We don't have to worry about academics. It's just about ball.
Yeah.
And he gets playing time.
But you were a college guy. You guys play a third the fewer games, and you also do regional traveling primarily. In the NBA, it's domestic traveling. It's Miami to Portland.
Well, the other part about it, I don't know, you read what Kerr said, where he said if somebody tells you to have back surgery, rehab, because once they go in there, once they go into your back, look at Tiger Woods, right? They went in, they try and fix his back. He's on 4 back surgeries now. I mean, he's done as a golfer. You look at Steve Kerr, and I'm sure it's funny. Whenever an athlete has surgery, the doctor always says, like, went perfectly. He'll make a 100% full recovery. No doctor has ever come out and said, boy, I really screwed that one up, right?
Right.
But somebody obviously screwed up and clipped something they shouldn't have when they went in and fixed Steve Kerr's back.
And Tiger Woods, perhaps.
Yep.
The Warriors, Cavs, now that you've watched all the playoff games, I kind of look at it and I think it's confirming what I thought.
Confirmation bias, sure.
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking Cleveland is going to figure out a way to win. Rondo out helps Boston, so it will be, at some point, I think Boston will eventually. Let me ask you this. Boston, Washington, who would you take?
Right now, I'd probably take Washington, but I do think that Boston has kind of recovered. It's like Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. They clearly got punched in the face by, the death of Isaiah Thomas's sister and by the fact they were down 0-2. They've shown me something in their lower intestinal fortitude, if you will, bouncing back. Something about the Celtics would lead me to take the Celtics, even though if you watch the games, you should take Washington.
Yeah, it's this Rondo injury.
But the injuries are interesting because you and I have followed this our entire lives, right? And the NBA playoffs have been decided more based upon health than how good anybody is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what ended when the Lakers went back-to-back in the 80s, what ended them? Injuries. What ended the run of the Boston Celtics? The back injury to Larry Bird. You go back to the past 2 years in the NBA Finals. What the Cavs couldn't compete because they didn't have Kyrie and they didn't have Kevin Love. And you go to last year, and the Bogut injury completely changed the series, as well as Draymond being suspended. And then you look at the Clippers, and I know that no one believes in the Clippers, but the fact is that they've been cursed. Right? Like 2 years ago, it was Chris Paul with the hamstring. Last year was the quad injury to Blake Griffin, and Chris Paul got hurt as well. This year, Blake Griffin hurts his Sergeant Hulka, hurts his big toe. So injuries, to me, and to anybody who follows the NBA historically, tell you that's who determines who advances in the playoffs. And right now, the two best teams are also the two healthiest teams.
San Antonio and Cleveland.
Yeah. Oh, and Golden State.
Yeah.
I mean, Golden State's healthy with the exception of their coach.
Yeah. Well, no, Katie's got a little something.
Yeah.
But it does go, San Antonio years ago started this, we're going to rest stars. And because it was San Antonio and they were smart, like the Patriots were like, give them a pass. We really, like LeBron said, everybody was okay with the resting thing till I started resting. Then when I started resting, people were like, wait, we're not that comfortable. It's Saturday night at ABC. ESPN is fine with Mike Conley resting. Nobody likes LeBron resting, but to your point, and we got to go, Doug Gottlieb, Shaq's his first guest today. It's great seeing you.